You got the big bald head like me. All right, this is Billy D, and this is a weekly buzz, and we're dedicating this to my brother Tom, who was an amazing chiropractor. Anybody that knew him, he was probably one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. He took crazy to the next level. If you think I'm crazy, he was way crazier than me, and that's probably why he went to see Jesus a little sooner than we wanted him to. But we loved him, and we were thankful to have the time with him. But let's talk about what we're going to do tonight. We got Miles, who I know quite well. I've pretty much grown up with you as far as in the chiropractic world. And then we have Keith Wassman. Am I saying that right?
Oh, you were way off. Wassung is about as close as I can get it.
Okay, good. And I really have zero knowledge about what you do, and a lot of people have recommended you, and a lot of people have been recommending you lately, so I want you to know that.
Oh, well, that's great. Thank you.
Recommended.
Good.
So why don't you tell me a little about you first? I saw you in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. That was the weekend of the bad burrito, wasn't it?
The bad burrito?
The bad burrito. You were having something. You were fighting something. So we didn't get to talk very much.
Oh, yeah.
You were eating something bad, but...
Yeah, it's hard to eat good in Oklahoma.
Yes, it is. Well, I am one of the... I'm a non-chiropractor. I'm actually a chiropractic patient of coming close to 30 years now. I work full-time outside of chiropractic in my own business, working in the stock market and things like that. That's really kind of boring, but it pays the bills. But I have, since 1989, spent my free time out sharing the principles of chiropractic in the public arena. Started off in my neighborhood, my own church, and it just kind of grew. And I now travel the world. In the last 3 or 4 years, It's gone over to Europe. And I do probably 180 public events. About half of those are university, pre-med, medical school. I do a lot of corporate type stuff, a lot of things like National Homeschool Association. And I do maybe 20 or 30 chiropractic type events like this. My preference, to be honest with you, is to be out in the public arena, just engaging what I call the raw public in these principles. And these principles are scientific principles. They're not in dispute.
Right.
They're found in, I can take a Guyton's physiology and do an entire lay lecture from it.
Right.
As I'm going to talk about tonight, there's over 300 terms in scientific literature for spinal nerve interference. Now, it doesn't always say subluxation, but they're describing the exact same thing. And sometimes we don't have to change your language. What you have to do is take their language and put it into chiropractic language with a philosophical lens. And so, subluxation as it relates to either a primary cause or a significant contributing factor to a variety of health conditions, combined with the benefits of a subluxation-free spine, the evidence is overwhelming. And so I'm going to talk tonight about what I do out in the public arena. And my side issue is not to inspire, maybe it's to embarrass some of the docs a little bit. Like, you know what? If he, a guy who basically who had college biology at a community college and got a C, if he can actually stand in front of medical doctors, medical professionals, and by the way, I actually teach continuing education at medical seminars, and I'm doing the exact same thing, immunology and things like that. If he can do it just because it's the right thing to do, my excuse to remove, because it does benefit me financially, it benefits my community. And so that's sort of the side thing is, I want to take away the fear. You can stand toe-to-toe with the greatest researchers in the world and say these principles are valid. They are philosophical, but they're rooted in scientific principles. So that's what we're presenting tonight, about 8 hours crammed into about 90 minutes.
Perfect. Now, you've been traveling a lot, dude. I thought I traveled a lot, but
this has been a crazy year. I think I crossed the country 3 times in the last month.
And what has been the gist of your message across?
Well, it depends on where I'm going, but the gist of my message is pretty much you got to get out of the way of yourself. There's so much that we do as chiropractors that gets in the way of us actually saving people's lives. I don't mean the clinical aspect of it. There's things that we do, and I'm going to share some of them tonight, we take for granted that we do in practice that actually gets in the way of people complying to what we want to do. And at the end of the day, what I'm all about is how do you build extraordinarily high patient retention. Because it serves the patient, because they're getting the best results, they're getting the best health benefits. It serves us, because we, obviously, from a business standpoint, it just makes sense to have people stay. it serves everybody in the best capacity. And I think, not to knock all the guys out there teaching how to get new patients, but I think we have a heroin addiction in our profession about getting new patients all the time. And I'm all about helping doctors get off that heroin addiction, about how do you build a practice that people, they won't leave you, they stay with you. That's what my gig is.
Right.
And, I'm known as the cash practice guy because that's the name of my company. Cash is just a side effect. I mean, you can't run that practice without being a cash-based practice. You can't run a practice where people stay with you for hundreds of visits for many, many years without being cash-focused.
Of course.
So that's a side effect of it. And really my passion is how do I get doctors to really be able to deliver on the promise that we have, which is lifetime chiropractic care. How do we actually do that? How do we implement that and make it real and not just talk about it and get all excited about it? That's why I think you're getting so much buzz about, you got to hear Miles' message.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. So
good.
I want to not blow smoke up your finger, but that's just what I've been hearing. And I said, have them up. We're going on a surf trip.
That's right. We're leaving 2 days.
Yes, we're taking my brother with me in small package. If anybody understands that talk.
Wow.
All right, now I want to kind of hit something that you touched, because you said you get up in front of medical doctors, and it's not that I feel that they're ignorant, but they're ignorant on some of the principles that we teach in chiropractic, which to me are all ADIO principles, which to me seem so simple, because a lot of times I'll have MDs or other people from the medical profession come to me, and it's almost that they're brainwashed a completely opposite direction, to a point where I'm almost feeling like that, I don't want to say stupid, that's not the word I'm looking for, I'm just uneducated, but it's just like, yeah, they understand the science between a drug and its reaction, but when it comes to really teaching people healthcare, I think they're totally lost.
Completely.
Okay, thank you.
Completely. Because they are taught a disease care system, and especially the modern medical doctor, not necessarily their fault, it's the system, it's the model.
Right!
They're learning more and more about less and less. And so you as chiropractors look at the body, the whole piece. It's one unit. Name one part of the body that's not involved in healing.
The other part, or any other part of the body.
There is none.
Right.
Okay. Whereas the medical doctor, because of the system, because of the model, because of where it's gone, learns more and more. And this is why you look at history. Medical doctors who were more family practice, GP back in the 50s and 60s, were more likely to embrace the chiropractic message because they understand looking at the patient's environment. They understood getting them well. They were more like the Doc Hollywood of their days. The drugs were on the back shelf.
Right.
And it didn't really happen, really until the late 60s, 70s with third party. We like to say in chiropractic, third party hurt chiropractors. It hurt the family physician, GP, just as much. And you see a lot of them, they're going cash. They're going into their own type things. And so they're not the enemy, but they do need to be. And by the way, I've had less blowback or negative feedback from MDs. The negativity has always been from chiropractors who deny subluxation, who deny our very principles.
Right, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they're even chiropractors, and sometimes I wish they would get that out of our profession, but I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is. It
Anyway.
is. But
Do you think a lot of the frustration is because of the insurance game?
Well, I think there's a lot of frustration for a lot of reasons. And insurance is part of it. Is that when you live a life where you're counting on someone else to pay your bills,
Right.
It's not you. It's not you looking in the mirror saying I'm responsible for it, but you're waiting for that check to arrive in the mail from some entity that has no business between you and the patient. Yeah, I think that's a philosophical tenet of it. It's an outside-in tenet. It's an outside-in approach to running your business, and of course that's stressful. Absolutely.
Right.
I mean. You brought up something just now about the stress, and I want to kind of emphasize, you brought up about these doctors getting out of the profession. You and I talked about this once before, that you and I share something, that we both went to schools that was not philosophically grounded.
Right.
We came and we both were kind of, I don't say lost, but there's a thing when you find chiropractic and you've been on the
I
other
was
side.
lost for 2 years, dude.
Yeah.
I'll admit it.
I can't say I was lost for 2 years,
But
but
it's because you had, you had a DeMoss in your class.
yeah, that's true. I did.
You did, and
Yeah.
you knew chiropractic when you went to school, so you at least had
Yeah.
some. I had no clue. I got out of school, and I found it.
But when you found chiropractic, you became that much more passionate about
Okay.
it. That's the point I'm making.
Right.
This is that, these guys that maybe they can be saved. Maybe they can get the message.
Right. And because, like you said, it's not just BS we're making up. There's science. That's what I like about Chestnut's works. That's why I continue to go to seminars, because all of this stuff supports everything that we've known since 1895. And it's the chiropractors that are the problem. It's not the practice of chiropractic that's the problem.
We have the evidence. We have the research. What we lack is the ability to communicate it in a value-based way. It's almost like you put a guy on trial for murder. And you got all you're the DA. You got all this evidence, and you come in the courtroom. You don't just hand the jury a stack of the documents and go, here, read this.
Right.
You tell a story.
Right.
You tell a very compelling story, starting with motive, starting with known truths, and you build on it because that jury is not neutral. That jury's already decided he's innocent. In the same way, the public's already they're not neutral.
Right.
And so you have to build a case. There are no simple. It's a process. And it's a process I'm still going through. You know what? I've been doing this 28 years. If I go more than 3 days without associating, without being in a green book, I start thinking medically. I start thinking outside in. And you know what? And I'm in this as probably as much as most chiropractors. 3 days, and I start thinking outside in. That's why I love.
That's why you can't watch TV, man.
That's why I do all these lectures. Hey, listen, I like hearing it. I need to hear the story.
It's one of the things I love about doing seminars. And we got to wrap this thing up real quick. But this is to my brother Tom. I'm really looking forward to this tonight. I'm really looking forward to it because I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot about you, and I'm kind of digging. I want to be able to kind of have some just some artillery to go out and get this message out to the rest of the world. So God bless you both for being here tonight. I love you guys, and let's go rock this crowd. What do you think? All right,
Let's do it.
Rock and roll. We'll start in 20.